Deep within the shadows of the American East Coast lies a dark wilderness spanning over 1 million acres. It is a place where daylight offers little comfort, and the night brings absolute, heart-pounding terror. For almost 3 centuries, an unseen, unholy force has walked these woods, leaving impossible tracks and fear in its wake. They say the water runs red here for a reason. If you see its glowing red eyes in the swamp, you are already dead. This isn't just a campfire story to scare kids. This is the blood-soaked, documented history of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. Look at the ghost towns scattered across this desolate landscape. Places like Batsto Village, Atzion, and Friendship. These places were abandoned, not just because the industries failed, but because of what waited for them in the dark, red cedar waters. Among the twisted, burned trees of the pygmy forest, something ancient and deeply evil made its permanent home. To truly understand the nightmare, we have to travel back in time, back to a stormy, violent night in 1735. Deep in the isolating woods of Leeds Point, a dilapidated cabin stood alone against a raging thunderstorm. Inside, an impoverished woman named Mother Leeds was enduring an agonizing, torturous labor with her 13th child. Exhausted, impoverished, and pushed to the absolute edge of human sanity, she screamed into the dark room. With lightning crashing around her, she cursed the unborn baby, shouting the fatal words, "Let it be the devil." At first, the child was born entirely normal. Just a fragile, crying newborn baby wrapped in a soft cloth. But then, the room grew freezing cold. The baby's bones began to crack, snap, and violently contort before their eyes. Human skin tore away, rapidly replaced by dark, leathery scales and thick, coarse animal hair. Massive, bat-like wings ripped through its back, knocking over candles and setting the wooden floor completely ablaze. Its face elongated into the grotesque, horrifying head of a horse, complete with jagged teeth and demonic goat horns. The midwife screamed as the towering bipedal beast stood up on cloven hooves, completely immune to the roaring flames. With a deafening screech, the monster launched itself upward, violently smashing its way up the stone chimney. It exploded out into the stormy sky. A literal demon born from a mother's curse, unleashed upon the unprepared world. Unfurling its massive wings, it dragged its barbed, forked tail across the cold, moonlit sky. The Jersey Devil had officially been born, and the Pine Barrens would never, ever be safe again. For decades, it remained a localized terror, a shadow snatching livestock, leaving only bloody shreds behind in the dirt. It hid in the deepest parts of the cedar swamps, watching quietly as humanity encroached on its dark, isolated kingdom. But even powerful historical figures couldn't escape it. In the 1800s, naval hero Commodore Stephen Decatur saw it with his own eyes. While inspecting heavy cannonballs, the massive winged beast swooped down directly toward his firing range. Decatur, a fearless warrior, aimed a massive iron cannon directly at the flying creature and fired. The cannonball tore through the air, but the beast effortlessly dodged it, screeching as it vanished back into the heavy clouds. Joseph Bonaparte, the former king of Spain, was left paralyzed with fear while hunting alone on his winter estate. He found himself face to face with the goat-headed demon, suddenly realizing that all his vast wealth could not save him. But the true horror, the event that caused mass, uncontrolled panic, didn't happen until January 1909. The newspapers called it the Phenomenal Week. The week the entire state of New Jersey lost its damn mind. It started quietly in the town of Woodbury. Residents woke up to a silent, pristine, snow-covered town. But cutting across the fresh snow were bizarre, cloven hoofprints. deep, narrow, and perfectly aligned in a single, impossible row. These tracks defied the laws of physics. They went straight over tall fences, under tight spaces, and up vertical brick rooftops. Over in Bristol, Pennsylvania, the patrolman James Sackville was walking his lonely night beat in the freezing cold. He heard a strange noise and drew his revolver, looking up to see a monstrous shadow completely blotting out the moon. Sackville opened fire into the dark sky, the loud gunshots echoing through the empty, snowy streets. The beast swooped down, its mouth open in a terrifying shriek, before disappearing into the snowy night. In Gloucester, a married couple awoke to a horrific scratching sound just outside their frosted bedroom window. They sat frozen in terror as the massive silhouette of the horned demon paced heavily on their woodshed roof. The panic spread rapidly. In Camden, a massive creature cornered a helpless dog in a snowy backyard. The homeowner bravely rushed out, swinging a wooden broom wildly at the hissing, flapping beast to save her pet. With a powerful, freezing gust of wind from its leathery wings, the creature launched back into the black sky. The attacks grew bolder. In Haddon Heights, an electric trolley car was making its way down a snowy track. The passengers were chatting warmly, completely unaware that death was plummeting toward them from above. With a violent crash, the Jersey Devil landed directly on the roof of the moving trolley, sending bright sparks flying everywhere. Heavy hooves stomped on the metal ceiling. Passengers screamed in absolute claustrophobic terror as the lights flickered. The driver slammed on the brakes, stopping the train dead in its tracks in the middle of the pitch-dark woods. Meanwhile, in West Collingswood, a brave team of firefighters spotted the creature perched high on a snowy rooftop. It stared down at them like a demonic gargoyle, its glowing red eyes burning right through the winter darkness. The brave firemen turned their high-pressure water hoses on the beast, hoping to knock it down to the ground. But instead of flying away, the monster lunged directly at them, razor-sharp talons fully extended for the kill. By midweek, society was collapsing. A social club in Camden was attacked, sending grown men fleeing in absolute panic. The creature smashed through their large glass window, turning a quiet evening into a blood-pounding, chaotic nightmare. Schools shut down entirely. Mills were abandoned.
He's still twitching.
The Philadelphia Zoo even offered a $10,000 reward for its capture. Armed posses of furious farmers and hunters marched bravely into the dark Pine Barrens to hunt the beast down. But even their trained hunting dogs refused to enter the fog. The animals knew exactly what was waiting for them. The hunters were swallowed by the deep darkness of the woods, finding nothing but an eerie, psychological silence. Some tried to capitalize on the fear. Hucksters bought a kangaroo, glued bat wings to it, and charged admission in Philadelphia. But the hoax didn't stop the real sightings, because what people were seeing was no glued-together circus animal. Witnesses describe a horrifying amalgamation of a horse and a goat, a face ripped straight from the depths of hell. It stands over 7 feet tall, on incredibly muscular, hairy, kangaroo-like legs, ending in sharp cloven hooves. Its arms are small and spindly, but they end in razor-sharp claws capable of tearing effortlessly through flesh and wood. And trailing behind it is a thick, barbed tail, whipping violently through the air like a demonic weapon. But the most terrifying aspect isn't how it looks. It's the horrific sound it makes before it strikes. Survivors describe a high-pitched, blood-curdling screech. Imagine a cat being physically torn apart, mixed with the warble of a massive owl. You might think this is all in the past, but in the cold winter of 1972, Mary Ritzer Christensen was driving alone, cruising down a pitch-black stretch of Green Tree Road. She nervously glanced into her rearview mirror. Stepping out into the pale moonlight was a towering 7-foot beast, crossing the dark highway right behind her car. She floored the gas pedal, too completely terrified to even get out of her car when she finally reached her home. Today, the Pine Barrens remain a vast, isolating sea of dense trees. Beautiful, but deeply, deeply unsettling. The crumbling stone ruins of ghost towns like Friendship serve as a grim reminder of what truly hides in the dark. Deep in the pygmy forest, there are places where the shadows seem to move entirely on their own, defying the light. Hikers still go missing. Cameras are found dropped in the dirt. The deep woods always keep their secrets. If you ever find yourself alone in these woods, you will feel the heavy, suffocating silence press against your chest. And then, you'll hear the heavy branches snap. You'll realize you are not alone in the dark. You turn around slowly, and a bright flash of lightning reveals exactly what you feared the most. The darkness takes over completely, and in that pitch-black void, two glowing red eyes open slowly, staring directly into your soul. It never left. The Jersey Devil is still out there, waiting for you to make a mistake. Even on the modern highways, the dense fog hides ancient horrors just beyond the reach of your headlights. Police officers pulling over on the side of the road have seen things they absolutely refuse to put in their official reports. Massive, leathery wings disappearing rapidly into the upper canopy, just as the bright flashlight hits them. We built asphalt roads straight through its territory, but we never, ever truly conquered this wilderness. Beneath the dark, tannin-stained waters, something ancient and incredibly hungry is still moving in the mud. The sudden, frantic flight of crows is your only warning that the ultimate apex predator is drawing near. Imagine hiding behind a rotting log, holding your breath, listening to heavy hooves crunching the dead leaves just inches away, praying it doesn't smell your fear as its barbed tail drags across the wood, right in front of your terrified face. Imagine being trapped inside a thin nylon tent, miles away from civilization, when the temperature suddenly drops. A massive horned shadow falls over your campsite, completely blocking out the safety of the moonlight. And then, a single razor-sharp claw begins to slowly slice open your tent from the outside. The sunset over the Pine Barrens might be beautiful, but it's just nature's countdown to the nightmare. The abandoned iron furnaces look like open mouths, breathing out the cold, haunted fog of the past. The locals know to keep out. They know exactly what happens to those who wander foolishly off the marked trails. When night falls, this peaceful forest transforms instantly into a terrifying, unearthly realm of monsters. Look up at the harvest moon, and you might just see the dark silhouette of Mother Leeds' cursed child. Researchers have spent lifetimes digging through old newspaper clippings, desperately trying to prove it was a hoax. They try to explain away the photographs, claiming it was just mass hysteria or a misidentified sandhill crane. They listen to the audio recordings from the Pine Barrens, desperately looking for a logical, safe explanation. But logic dies in the dark woods. Logic doesn't leave impossible, cloven hoofprints on snowy rooftops. When the dense wall of fog rolls across the dirt roads, human logic cannot save you from what's coming. When a cloven hoof steps out of the mist, you finally understand the horrific truth. When you see the muscular, hairy legs of a beast that shouldn't exist, your blood runs absolutely cold. You see the dark veins pulsing beneath its leathery chest, a living, breathing nightmare from 1735. And when you finally look up into its grotesque, fanged, horse-like face, you know your time is up. The beast opens its jaw impossibly wide, drawing in the cold night air to fuel its rage. The birds scatter. The glass shatters, and you fall to your knees, covering your ears as the blood-curdling scream shatters your reality. With a massive thrust of its muscular legs, the beast launches into the air, leaving you terrified in the dirt. It owns the sky above New Jersey. It owns the shadows. It dives back into the thick canopy, disappearing like a ghost, waiting patiently for its next victim. You might think you're safe in your quiet suburban home on the edge of the dark woods, but sometimes a tall, dark figure stands perfectly still at the tree line, just watching your house in the dark. You might find deep scratch marks on your car door the next morning, right where you parked. You double-check your locks. You make sure the windows are shut tight. You look out the peephole into the dark night, praying to see absolutely nothing. But tonight, a massive, unblinking yellow eye is looking right back at you through the glass. The front door splinters violently. The nightmare has finally come to your home. When the sun comes up, everything looks peaceful again. But the locals know the terrible truth. Welcome to New Jersey, the state where the devil isn't a myth.
Get out now before it's too
He's
late.
a resident. He has over 1 million acres of dark, impenetrable forest to hide in. And he knows every inch of it. Thousands of people have seen him. Good, honest people who have absolutely nothing to gain from lying. So ask yourself, the next time you drive through the dark,
I'm waiting.
are you truly safe? Never turn your back on the trees, because Mother Leeds' 13th child is always watching you. If you want to survive the horrors of the unknown, you need to be prepared. Hit that subscribe button right now before the Jersey Devil finds you in the dark. Drop a comment below if you've ever seen something unexplainable hiding in the shadows. Sleep with the lights on tonight. You've been warned.